How can you more effectively surrender to God's plan, to His will for your life when you struggle to hear from God? I think this is a question that a lot of believers ask on a regular basis. Maybe you're going through a hardship right now. You say, God, I just want to give this to you. I just want to surrender all of this to you, surrender my life, everything to you. But because you're struggling to hear from God, you don't know which ways to step. And in turn, you don't fully surrender that hardship, that thing that you're going through to God, and it leads you down a path that you don't want to go. And I want to make something clear before I get too far into this. God is always speaking to us. So when we struggle to hear from God, it's not because God isn't speaking, it's because we're struggling to listen. So what can we as believers do when we are struggling to surrender something to God because we're having trouble hearing from God? One of the things you can do is imitate who God is. Imitate who Jesus was on this earth. Why is imitation so important for us as believers when it comes to surrendering and hearing God properly? Because a lot of the time when we are struggling to surrender something, it's because we're trying to do something in our own power, in our own strength, with our own plan. But when we can imitate Christ, imitate His love, imitate what He wants us to do, what that does is helps us walk out from our own plans, our own mindsets, and walk into God's plan, in God's mindset. And it aligns our heart with God so that we can more effectively hear Him clearly. So I encourage you right now, again, if you're going through a situation where you're trying to surrender something and you can't hear God effectively, just stop what you're doing and just start imitating who Christ is in the way that you walk, in the way that you talk, in the way that you love others. Trust me, I know surrendering our hardships, surrendering the things that we care about and giving it fully to God can sometimes be hard, especially when we're struggling to hear God. But if we can just do this step of just saying, you know what, God, I'm just going to imitate you, and we just align ourselves with Him, just watch as you start to see victory, watch as you start walking in a path that God has set for you, and watch as you start hearing God more clearly.